The crows or the fairies? Welcome to today's cloudism, which we translate into create the life of your dreams, parentheses, or your nightmares in your sleep. Cloudisms are words and phrases that I've created or coined to help us emotionally regulate, mentally reframe, and spiritually connect to the now moment. Hi, I'm Cloudia Karuchi, and I'm a Washington, D.C. based psychotherapist. I'm a psychospiritual coach, and I'm a fellow life traveler. So let's jump right in. The crows or the fairies. Today I'm going to be talking about 4 types of states that we can go into. And I like to call them trance states, except for the first one. So let's go into each one, and I'm going to describe why these are so important and they're connected to sleep. And what I want you to be thinking about when you think about sleep is that sleep is a form of working out. Sleep is a medicine. Sleep is a filing cabinet that helps us maintain order. So I really want to emphasize the importance of sleep. And let me explain why. I'll be looking at notes like I always do. Oh, and look, I'm using my beautiful notebook that was given to me by a client with the name Cloudisms. So this is where I'm going to be reading from. Okay, so there's 4 brain states. The first one that you've got to remember is, or don't remember, just look at this video when you want to remember, is the beta state. And basically the beta state is the state we're in right now. We're awake, we're alert, we're logical, we can have critical thinking, right? This is what we're doing all day long, is we are in the beta state. And that means that our unconscious or our subconscious is not available to us. This is our daily walking around state, let's say. The cons of being in the beta state is that we can be highly stressed and we can be overthinking, we can be ruminating. Beta states can cause our anxiety, right? And we know that. We know why. We're watching the news, we're watching miniseries on psycho killers. The beta state is our conscious, alert, awake state. The second state, and this is where we're starting to learn. The alpha state is the state of light meditation. It's the state of when we find ourselves daydreaming, when we're listening to music and our eyes are closed. It's a state where our eyes are closed, but we're fully aware of what's happening around us. This is a good time because it's slightly trance, where we can visualize, where we're envisioning things, when we're remembering things. This is a place of imagination. Now, what I'd like you to picture is it's a relaxed state where we start to open up. We start to relax the ego in the alpha state. This is a good time to, when you're reading to your child and the room is dark and it's starting to get relaxed, this is a good time to talk to your child about what they imagine, what they picture. This is also a good time for yourself as an adult or for your child to start inputting affirmations, or have them describe to yourself a visualization, gentle futuring, right? Gentle images of who you want to be. All of this is still in sort of a daydreamy place. It's a good place to start putting ideas of success, ideas of who you want to be. This is a good place to say, I am safe, I am loved, I am beautiful. I am strong. I am capable. Really good time, the alpha state, for affirmations. This is also a good time for learning. And when you're with your child, this is a good time to say things that you want them to remember because they're open. We're open in that moment, right? Now, where are the fairies? The fairies begin to show up. Ding, 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 ding. This is a time where the crows can show up, okay? And that's why I call this cloudism the fairies or the crows. These are the times. And what are the crows? The crows are our worry. The crows are our negative thinking. Now, check it out. If we start to go to sleep and we're watching a show on homicide, we're watching a show on cults, we're watching a show on serial killers, we have the news on. If we begin in our recliner or on the sofa, we start to fall asleep in the alpha state because it's a trance state, right? It's a relaxed, open state. That's when the crows can get in. That's our worried thinking. And if you already watch my cloudism on Frame the Day, the mornings and the evenings, crows and fairies are part of framing our day. And the great news about what I'm doing with this cloudism is that we can, with intention and awareness, really intentionally work with what's happening in the morning and in the evening to frame our day with either crows or fairies. So again, TV, worry, the news, this isn't a good time to put that in. What is a good time to put in is meditations, affirmations, anything, any show that you want to listen to that has motivation or inspiration. The alpha state is also a good time to hone in on your intuition. An example might be, and I do this all the time. I did it yesterday. I sat on the edge of my bed as I was putting my shoes on. This is a good example. I closed my eyes and I asked myself, what did I feel about that interaction? Now notice, I'm awake. I'm aware of my surroundings, but I close my eyes and I go into a slight trance state by closing my eyes and I ask myself, what was my intuition? This is also a good time to ask questions. What is it that I'm meant to be doing right now? What is it that I'm meant to be doing today? And little by little, as you ask those questions, your intuitive voice will show up. All of this. So think about how powerful the alpha state is. And it's starting to touch the corners, the edges of deeper sleep. But you're not asleep. You're not asleep. Okay, you got that? Number 3, the theta state. The theta state is the state of deep meditation. You're beginning to fall asleep. You're beginning to go into your REM sleep levels, which are super important for healing. Now, this is the moment in the morning or in the evening where you're in between sleep and awakeness. Now, this is where the crows really show up, or where the fairies can show up. And the thing is, we can be conscious of inserting the fairies, because when we're right on the border between sleep and an alert state, an awakened state, we can decide what we're going to insert. This is why I say to people with post-traumatic stress disorder, I'm a survivor myself. I work with people who have post-trauma symptoms, high anxiety, general anxiety disorder, even depression. This is the moment as you wake up and your eyes are still closed, you're still deciding to wake up or stay asleep. And as you're going to sleep, this is when you want to have your tools. Listen to me. This is when you want to have your tools. This is when you want to plug in your meditations. This is when you want to press play on your motivational, inspirational talks. This is when you want to play music that make you feel good. This is when we intentionally place the fairies instead of the crows. Because all of us know, I know this still today, if I wake up without intention, framing my day, or go to sleep without intention, or for those of you who wake up in the middle of the night because you're menopausal, because you're anxious, if you wake up in the middle of the night, I tell my folks, use the tool of pressing play. Have your meditations, your affirmations, the speakers that you love who can lull you to sleep. I always say, take it as the adult who's reading to you to lull you to sleep, but lull you to sleep with positivity, with things that you want to be inserted inside of your unconscious during the theta state. And this is important for children. This is the time where we feel unified with spirit. This is the time we have access to spiritual intuition. This is the time for deep reprogramming. Listen to me. This is the time where we reprogram. You know how you have meditations, and it's because it has binaural beats. And while we're sleeping, it will go in. This is why you don't want to leave the news on or any TV shows that have horrifying events, basically. This is time of deep visualizing as you're going to sleep. I use this. So if people wake up with me, it looks bizarre because I'm trying to stay in trance. Now, that's either because I'm putting on something where I want to make myself reprogram, or because I'm using active visualizations. How do I want my day to go? What do I want to be? What do I want to be surprised by? I do all of that to do deep reprogramming, and you could do this at night in the theta state. This is where you're still conscious, but you have access to what? To create your reality. This is your reprogram to create your reality. Please use these states as a tool. The last one is the delta state, and this is much slower. You are in deep sleep. You are not conscious. Your awareness is somewhere else. You are not here. But this gives us access to the collective universal mind. It is in the delta state, the last one of deep sleep, where we have healing, where we have access to the divine, where we have capacity to regenerate. It's beautiful. Do you see the treasures that we have in sleep? The delta state gives us access to the divine. In the delta state, I received my messaging around the dynamic meditation method. I woke up with the words across my forehead, dynamic. I received the messaging for empath leader. It didn't say empathic leadership. It didn't say leadership. It said in big words, empath leader. I get messages through the delta state all the time where I wake up with these messages. The other day I had the message of when I was in the 4th grade, I used to wear red Dr. Scholl's and I used to wear red clogs. And it made me so unique. I was the only little girl in my uniform wearing red clogs, basically. But what it reminded me of was my uniqueness at the time. And it got me in touch with my uniqueness today. And by the way, I'm just noticing that I'm wearing red. But it was given to me in the Delta state, these memories of myself, these divine memories. This is where we access the divine and the universal mind. Okay. So know that as we're going into trance like sleep states, we have access to treasures. Now, this is where the crows want to get in, where worry, where nightmares want to get in, post traumatic symptoms. But we have the tools by knowing this information, how to insert new programming. And there's tons. Use my meditations. There's tons of meditations, meditations with affirmations, um, inspirational speakers. Sometimes I choose my favorite speakers, my favorite teachers, and I just press play and I go to sleep to them. And if I wake up at 3 in the morning, I press play again. So anyone who's sleeping with you, just know and start training your children to program themselves with beauty, with self-love, with comfort. Spend that time. So those are your fairies. You choose. Or your crows. But we're deprogramming the crows. I just want you to recognize them when they show up. Turn off that TV. Turn off the news. Instead, plug in your fairies. I'll see you in the next Cloudism. And thank you. If you like this content, if this serves you, if you're learning, please like, share, subscribe. Let's get the message out.